Welcome to the Netivot Shalom Shir. This week's Parsha is Parsha Vayetze. And tonight I'm going to talk about the three different brachas by which our forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, were blessed by God as to how many and how multiple their descendants will be. Avraham Avinu was told that his descendants will be like the stars in the heaven. Yitzchak Avinu was told that his descendants will be like the sand by the sea. And Yaakov, in this week's Parsha, is told that his descendants will be like the dirt of the earth, the dust of the earth. There's significance in these three things, and the significance in these three things will actually teach us how to serve God in a better way and how to be a better person. So let's look at what the Netivot Shalom says about these things. That's the blessing that was given to Yaakov. This was after he was on the way to Lavan. He was leaving to go to Lavan to find a wife. And remember, he stopped at the place that ultimately became Hara Maria, Rabbi, where the temple stood. He went to sleep, had a dream, and had the dream about the ladder, and saw God standing on top of the ladder. And then one of the things that God told him at that point is this first sentence that he repeats here: "V'hoya zaracha kafar ha'oretz." Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth. Ufaratzta yama v'kedma v'tzafona v'negbo. They will expand west, east, and west, and north and south. And all of the families of the world will be blessed through you. So Mitzinu, we find, he says, Eitzel Havos HaKodesh, by our holy forefathers, Shkol Echad Mehem Nisborech Bebrachim Yuchedes. Everyone had a unique blessing given to them. Avraham Avinu Nisborech B'chochvei HaShemayim Uvechol Ashel Sfas Hayam. Avraham Avinu was blessed with the stars of the heaven and the sand on the sides on the banks of the sea. Commotion Emar, like that's wrong. I must have missed the word. Let me back up. Avraham Avinu Yisborach b'chochvei hashemayim. I guess no, that's right. Gachol Asher Sfas Yam. That he was blessed with both the stars. The descendants will be as numerous as the stars, and the sea, the sand on the side of the sea. Commotion Emarach Lacher Akeda. After we say after the Akeda, Yanesh Rasisis Adavar Hazai. You should know I did this thing. Kivarech Avarechacha. I will bless you, V'harbe Arbe Saracha, and I will multiply your descendants, Kachofei Hashemayim, like the stars of the sky, V'kachol Ashral Sfas Yom, and like the sand that is on the banks of the sea. V'yitzchak Kasiv, and Yitzchak it says, V'ervesi Es Saracha Kachofei Hashemayim, I will make your descendants as many as the stars in the heaven. With Yaakov Kasuv Khan, and here with Yaakov, it's written, your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, they'll spread all over the world. And the holy books come to explain these three different levels. Kochvei Hashemayim, stars in the heaven, Chol Ashal Sfas Hayam, the sand on the banks of the sea, Afar Haaretz, and the dirt of the land. The Kochvei Hashemayim, Hanu Yechidi Hasigula Ha'ovdim Lashem Yisborach Madrekos Kaboa. The stars of the heaven refers to those. Every star is independent, one independent of the other, and it represents somebody who serves God on a really high level. Modikosev, as it says in Daniel, Umasadiki harabim kochavim la'olam v'ed. The multitude of tzaddikim will be like the stars forever. Achein ein lahem shaychus zeh lazeh. The stars don't have any connection one to another. B'chol echad meir b'fnei asfo. Everybody gives its own light. V'einu me'uchadim. And they're not unified. They're not together. Moshe Kosev Maral, as the Maral writes, Shadavka Eitzel B'nei Dea, Heo Shilchol Echad Mehem Deus Vashkofos V'Yuchedes L'Kach Kasha Yichud Gomer B'neihem. He says it's every person who has their own thoughts and their own way of relating to God, and there's no connection between them. Therefore, it's difficult, he says, to have achdus. The next level is the sand on the banks of the sea. Shehu otzer ba'ad nichshale hayam hameimim latzif es kol habriya. The sand on the banks of the sea keep the sea from flooding the whole world and destroying the world. Kol gargir chol la'atzmo einu klum. Every particle of sand by itself is nothing. Barak mikoach hayosem muchadim kulam yachad. Only through the unity, where they're all together, through that unity, koach atzum hamogin al kol habriya b'nei gali hayam. Only through that unity do they have the power to guard, to protect all of humanity against the waves of the sea. And similarly with Yisrael, hakoach sheyechidim hu kegargir chol. The power of an individual Jew is like a particle of sand. Ach biyosim uchadim yachad. If the Jews all get together, koach achdus magin aleim mikol gali hayam. If we all get together, the power of achdus will protect us from all of the waves of the sea. The inyan afar haaretz, and the aspect of the dirt of the ground, hushyesh bo gam devekus. That tells us about devekus, cleaving. Shachol she'al sefas hayam yesh bo rak achdus v'lo devekus. The particles of sea on the seashore, they have achdus. They're together, but they're not cleaving together. They're not stuck together like the dirt is stuck together. They're all the dirt of the earth is stuck all together. Because of this dveikut, this sticking together, there is the power of growth, of plants growing from the earth. Which you can't say about the stars of the heaven or the sand, Asher Sfasyam, which is by the seashore. Sheish lehem malosehem, they have many great attributes, but they don't have the power of growth. The whole world exists through the power of growth from the dirt of the land. Adam v'hema, man and animal, chaya, wild animal, v'of, birds, v'chol habruim, all of creation, kulam chayim v'kayamim mamash afar haaretz batzmiach. They all live from that which grows on the land. V'kol zeh b'toch afar haaretz tavu ke'echad. Since the the dirt of the ground is cleaving to one another, connected to one another. Lekach yesh bo koach hatzmicha hamakayim es kol habriya. Therefore, they have the power of growth to keep alive all of creation. V'al and because of this, yesh lo mashma tzinu sheyakov be'esh shebo negdo kol kochos haklipa esav arba meos ish imo. And this is what we find with Yaakov. At the time that his brother Esav was coming to greet him with 400 men with him. Amar, he said, Yaakov said, Ki yorei anochi also, pen yavo v'hikani eim albanim. I am worried, I'm fearful that maybe he will come and he will kill the mothers and the children. Latu amarta, and you, Hashem, have told me, hey tev things will be good with you. And I will make your descendants as numerous as the sand of the sea. Lo hizkir, lo hizkir avtocha cheres. He didn't mention any other promise. Lo kachof Shemayim, not like the stars of the heaven. Lo kafar haaretz, not like the dust of the dirt of the land. Shuvtecha lo atzmo, that was specifically promised to him. That the dirt of the land was specifically promised to Yaakov. We didn't mention that. Barak only only you promised to make my descendants like the sand of the sea. Vinyl Afisha also Shah. At that, and this is because at that time, Bo Negdo Esav Arba Imos Ish Imo. At that time, Esav and 400 men were coming with him. Kigali Hayam, like the waves of the sea. Hamiyamim Latzif Limchot as Kol Habriya, that were coming to flood and destroy all of creation. Kmo Shamar, Ki Yorei Anochi Oso, Ben Yavo Vikane Em Abonim, Vakoch Kenegdam Hu, Haftacha Kechol Hayom. The power against them is the promise that your descendants will be as numerous as the whole of the Yom, the sand of the sea. Koach Achdut, the power of Achdut, of unity. Sheyesh Lanu, that we have. Sh'anu Muchadim Yachad, that we are together, completely together. We also find later in this parsha, Yaakov kor Lavanav Achiv. Yaakov called his children brother. Kishlavan Radav Acharav, when Lavan was running after them. It says, V'yomer Yaakov La'achiv, he said to his brother, really he's talking about to his son. He explains, Shalavan Haya Yechida de Klipa. Yavan was the unification of Klipa, the headquarters of that which is negative, the outer covering that has to be peeled away. So in order to pull away that unholy covering, you had to have the covering of the unity of holiness against it. Al Kain Korlem Yaakov Achiv. Therefore, Yaakov called his children Achiv, brother. Ritzon Lomer, to say, Bo v'niya ba'achva u'ba'achtus. Come and be with us together as one. Shizeu hakoach, and that's from the word achiv is ach is togetherness. So he's come together as one. Shizela kol his kabbalah klipa. That's the power that you need, the unity, to overcome this klipa. Kamo kein kasher us Esav ba el Yaakov kagali hayam ha'omnilus hatziv hazabriya. Similar as Asa was coming, just like the waves of the sea to destroy creation. His kirdavka es habracha shel v'samtia sarach kol hayam. Yaakov remembered specifically that blessing of making his children like the sand of the sea. Shohei koach achtus shel achol al sifas yom. This is the power of the unity, the togetherness of the sand that is on the bank of the river of the sea. Hamogin al abriya miskanas hamayim protects creation from the danger of the water. Hazinonim, the furious water, Shagali Hayam Lo Yishtafu, so that the waves of the sea will not destroy us. There's another way of looking at these three levels of Kochev, Chol, and Afar. This is the Kochev Shemayim, Rumas Elu She'odi L'Shem Yisborach. The stars of heaven hint at those who serve God, Bebchinos Hagvos, Begdolos Hamochin, at a really high level, high intelligence, Baroim Es Godlos Habora, and they're able to see always the greatness of the creation. God Kosuv, as it says in Shayahu, S'u Morom Einechem, raise up your eyes, Varo, and look and see, Mi Bora Elah. Who created this? Hamotzi b'mismar tzivom, who brought out all these hosts of heaven. Shekofeh Shemayim Mora al Gadlos Habore. The stars of the heaven hint at the greatness of the creation. Vikar Avodosam, who the main part of their service, Iba Aseh Tov, to do good. She'ovdim L'Hashem Yisborach Madregas Gavoah. When you reach that level, that's all you're concerned with. You're not worried about turning away from bad because there is no bad. They're only good. Serving God with good, and that's the highest level. Marumas, the sand on the banks of the sea, hints at hints at those who are not at this celestial state of being like the stars of the heaven. And their job is to turn away from evil. Turn away from evil. Only when you get to the higher madrega can you get to the asay tov. So therefore, to turn away from evil, their main power is unity. This is the whole purpose of the sand on the banks of the sea. Hashomer umage b'koach u'achdus, through the power of the unity of the sand, of the particles of sand. Shalal kol abriya migali hayam hamimim alatzif umilchot es habriya. Because of that unity, they're able to stick together and protect all of humanity from the raging sea that wants to destroy humanity. Vadas zeh, because of this koach ha'achdus Yehudim, the power of unity of a Jew, hamuchadim yachad shomer osa mikol gale hayam v'isgabrut hatava. Unity, where Jews are together, will serve to protect them from all of the waves of the sea, all of the bad desires, all of the things that are trying to force us from Yiddishkeit. Asher yetzer ora zomem lifgoa b'Yehudi lashmidu l'gamre aida yetzerim felim atavos ros. Because the job of the Yetzer Hora, he always wants to destroy the Jew completely with dark creations, dark thoughts, and bad desires. And the unity of the Jew brings down a power from above, protecting the Jew from the the powers, the waves of the sea, the aspect of Sur Merat, turning from evil. V'koach shel b'hoy zarach kafar ha'oretz, and the power of your children shall be like the dust of the dirt of the earth. Hu ha'koach shel Yaakov. That's the power of Yaakov. Yaakov lashon Ekev. Yaakov comes from the word Ekev, which is heel. Shemadrega so haisa hachna b'shvelus b'tachlis. His level of Yaakov was shvelus, humility, and submission. Bechinas Moshe Rabbeinu Alav Shalom, just like Moshe Rabbeinu, Shenemar Bo, it says about Moshe, Moshe Anav Ba'od Mikol Adam. Moshe was humble, more humble than any human being. Asher al Pnei Adama, on the face of the earth. Kafar Haaretz, like the dirt of the land. Shekal Ha'olam Dorech Alav. What happens with the dirt? Everybody is walking on it. Everybody is stepping on it, walking over it. But all the world lives from its power. That's the Jew. The whole world is trying to walk over us, is walking over us all the time. They don't realize that they only live from the power of the Jew. Vehi hamida shel hachna v'shvelus, and this is the quality of humility and submissiveness. She hayasod l'chol inyanei avodas Hashem. That's the humility is the only way to really get to serve God. Not to serve God from a high state thinking I'm so great, but to serve God, thanking God for the ability that this little Basar Vadam, this person who has no real merits compared to what he's supposed to be doing, that nonetheless you're giving me the opportunity to try to serve you. Kasipur Achim HaKadosh, Rav HaKadosh Rabbi Elimelech, Zuhuslenu, Rav HaKadosh Rav Zusha Zuhuslenu, the two brothers, Rabbi Elimelech Lezins, Rav Zusha, they were constantly debating. What does a Jew need to be able to serve, to begin to serve a God, to serve a God? Migadlu tabore, from a high level of recognizing the greatness of God, o mishvelus atzmo, or for the humility of yourself. And they couldn't resolve this. So v'nichnasu lishol es pi rabam hamagid hagadol. So they went to ask the Mezrich, the Magid of Mezrich, for the answer. V'amar, and he said, She'elu elu, divrei Elohim chayim. Both of these positions are the words of the Holy God. Mitok gadlus habore, from understanding the greatness of God and seeing the amazing, unimaginable, unfathomable things that God does, from that level of recognition, then Magiyam Lishveus Atzmo leads you to be humble, because you realize, what am I? Who am I compared to that? V'chein is similarly Mishvelus Atzmo, for the humility of yourself. Magiyam V'godla Habore. It'll bring you to recognize the greatness of the Creator. Ach afal pikein. Nonetheless, hitchala tzorich leo b'shvelus asmo. The beginning of your search, and you're trying to advance yourself to become more spiritual, to increase your Yiddishkeit, should begin from a lower level, the level of humility of yourself. Kamamar ha'olam min ha'aretz lo noflim. As it says, the world cannot fall from the earth. The person who's standing on the earth cannot fall. If you're up too high, you can fall. V'zeu inyan v'hoyu zarach kafar haaretz. That's what it means. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth. V'china zu shel haaretz shemimenu ein noflim. You can't fall from that. It's only when you start going up. When you're on a ladder, you can fall off the ladder. But when you're on the ground, on the ground, before you start, you're not going to fall. So have that base, is what he's saying. B'chol madrego shel kofei shemayim b'achol asher al sfasayam hayishayach nefila. And both the levels of the stars of the heaven and the sand of the sea, there's a level of falling. Al wafar haaretz, b'midah shachna v'shvelus, but with the dust of the earth that is cleaving together, the aspect of submission and humility, Yecholim labor v'lamod b'chol matzavim hadrigas, you're able to withstand and go through all kinds of difficulties and levels. But these were Torah's Avos, and it says in Torah's Amos, Sheshlemus havodahi, the perfection of service to God, rak ayidei achna v'shvelos, only through humility. Ki b'chol madregos shayach nefila, because the higher madrego that you get to, you always have the possibility of falling. Ayadu magim lishlemus havoda l'chol madregos hagvos. So only through this, starting with this humility, you're able to reach the higher levels. This is the quality of Yaakov Avinu from the word Akev, of heel. Therefore, Yaakov is called the chosen of all the Avos, of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. He's called the chosen. Because he had perfection in his service of God. Through the quality of the dust of the earth. This is what Chazal tell us in Gemara Shabbos. Shenachlas Avraham v'Yitzchak, that the power, the inheritance of Avraham and Yitzchak, hein im Mitzarim, their possessions, their inheritance that we get from them, comes with lots of difficulties. Rak nachlos Yaakov avicha, he nachlos bli Mitzrayim. Only the inheritance of Yaakov, our father, comes without difficulties. K'mod Kosev, as it says, "Faratz the yom of a kematz foot of a negba," you will go stronger in every direction of the world. Mishum shenachlos Yaakov hi hamadrega shel v'hoya zarach kafar haaretz, because that is the inheritance of Yaakov, that his inheritance will be like the dust of the earth. Shnichlav b'zeh he madregos shel shleimus avoda ayidei hachna v'shvelos. He'll included in this. You have the level of perfection of your service, ayidei hachna v'shvelos, through submission and humility. Shemina oretz lo noflim, you don't fall from the earth. Magim ayidei zeh l'chol madregos, and with that as your base, you can reach all the levels. And because of the power of growth from the dust of the earth, through this power of growth, through Faratzta, the Jewish people became stronger. Yama v'kema was full of an egg in every direction where they went. This is what it means, an inheritance without problems. And this level, every Jew can reach according to his particular value, particular level where he's at. You can go from there. Yaakov represents Knesset Yisrael, all of Israel. Shekol is Kol Yisrael, he includes all of Israel. Therefore, every Jew, according to his ability, can reach the level, the quality of Yaakov, submission and humility. My soul is like dust, and provides for everybody. The aspect of submission and humility involves nullifying your ego. This is the most important point of the service of a Jew. Baal Shem Tov, it says the Baal Shem Tov, HaKodesh Chuzalei al Pasuk says, Anochi omed bein Hashem uveinechem. I stand between God and you. Shanochios omedes, the the ego stands k'mechitza shel barzo, like a metal mechitza, metal separation, hamafsekos, that separates us, bein HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'Yehudi, separates the Jew from God. V'hefech, and the opposite, v'anochias hu bitol yishios. And when you nullify this ego, v'bchinas v'nafshi k'offer l'kol tiyah, and the aspect of I'm like dirt. Everything is like dirt. Everything I do is like dirt. Ein v'efes, nothingness. Shizel yesod havodah yesod hasid. This is the foundation of serving God. The foundation of serving God with zeal as a chassid. Zeh maybe Yehudi l'shleimus havodah. This brings a person to the completeness of the service of God. Shakasher oches b'midah shel hachnah v'shvelus. When a Jew holds on to this quality of submission and humility, hisbatlus l'Hashem yisborach ein efes, and he nullifies himself or herself like nothingness to God. Harizeh shomer umagin alav. This will protect that person, mikal pagayim raim, from all bad things, umeviu lemadregos hagvoah shel avodas Hashem, and bring you to the highest level of serving God. Bilu hayishus mefaredes Yehudim Hashem Yisborach, and the yishus, the ego, separates a person from God. V'zohi habrocha shel bohei zarecha kafar haaretz. This is the blessing, that your seed shall be like the dust of the earth, who for rots till they will go strong and spread out Yoma of a Kema of a Safon of a Negba in all corners of the world. V'nivruchu v'cha kol mishpachos Hadoma, and with you will be blessed all of the families of the earth. Adkan. So I think the message is an important message. Any of these qualities can be used to serve God. And the really basic quality from which you can then catapult yourself higher and higher, as the Netivot Shalom is saying, is the afar haaretz, from the dust of the earth. That encompasses cleaving together, but it also encompasses the fact that you've got a baseline from which you cannot fall, and you can only go up. Then you can go up to reach the levels of the sand of the sea, which is the Achdus of Bnei Yisrael, which is key, and then finally get to the Kochavim, the stars, the level of the stars. And the difference between the level of the stars and the Afar Haaretz is that the Afar Haaretz and the sand of the sea is the level of the stars. Everybody's doing their own thing, shining with themselves. But it's the whole, the sand of the sea and the dirt, togetherness, that where we're doing things all together as one, as we receive the Torah. Says just before we receive the Torah, V'yichan sham neged hahor, Bnei Yisrael camps next to the mountain. V'yichan sham, Rashi says, ish echad, lev echad, like one person, one heart. And that's what we have to strive to be. I bless us all that we reach that level. And let's hope that this beautiful rain that we have will continue bringing bracha after bracha upon Klal Yisrael. I'm going to turn the recording off. Thank you for listening and attending. Because when you are here, and I know that you're going to be here, it encourages me to study a little bit. And I always need encouraging for that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That was beautiful.